Hi, welcome to my video. So this video is going to be about the BACB Handbook. So I think that a lot of times there are misconceptions in regards to what the BACB allows, what requirements are allowed. So we're going to go through the BACB Handbook together, and I'm going to tell you the key points that are often frequently asked questions for supervisees. Well, Iona, I never read the BACB Handbook. That's probably a problem. If you are passionate about going in this field, you need to know all the requirements that are in the BACB Handbook. You should know how many hours to collect a month, when the new changes are starting. You should know all these things to prepare yourself. So we're gonna start from the very top. I actually have the handbook pulled up, and we're just gonna go through the basics. So when looking for a school, the BACB kind of tells you, key things that it should either be ABA accredited program, or it needs to have the verified course sequence. Most people do the verified course sequence. Some things to consider when you're doing the verified course sequence is the university pass rate. So I know that some people are really into just going through school with the easiest program, but that isn't always the best route. The main purpose of going through a program is making sure that you can pass the test if you're trying to be a BCBA. So my recommendation is to go on the BACB website, look at the pass rate, compare the program's pass rates, and also the layout of the course, and see which one is best for you. Don't always pick the cheapest or the easiest. You need something that's really going to prepare you for the exam. Currently, there's 4 eligibility pathways. Pathway 1 is the one I talked about earlier, which is that ABA accredited program. The second pathway is the behavior analytic coursework, or completing that verified course sequence. The third is faculty teaching and research, and the fourth pathway is postdoctoral experience. Most people fall into the first or second pathway. However, it is important to see where you'll be eligible, especially now, because in 2027 the requirements are changing. So you need to make sure that if you're just starting out, that you're already doing the requirements for the 2027, because that is the requirements that you will be testing on. So first we're going to go over the 2025 requirements, and then we'll talk about the 2027 requirements as well, because they are a little different. So you have supervised hours and concentrated hours. I completed concentrated hours, which means I only needed 1,500 hours, but I needed 10% of hours a month with my supervisor. For the supervised fieldwork, you need 2,000 hours, but you only need 5%. Now, a common misconception is that you have to do one or the other. You can mix and match the concentrated hours. The concentrated hours weigh more than the supervised hours, so you will put the amount of hours that you have for the month and then multiply it by 1.33, and that will give you the weighted amount of those concentrated hours that you can add on to your already supervised hours. Concentrated hours just allows you to finish a little quicker. So if you want to just complete your hours in a little bit faster, I would recommend either doing the concentrated route fully or mixing the concentrated route on those months where you do sit with your supervisor more. So now we're going to look at the 2027 BCBA requirements. So for the 2025, there were 4 different pathways. With the 2027, there will only be 2 pathways. The first pathway is a credit or recognized program, and the second pathway is the behavior analytic coursework. So it does take the postdoctoral in the pathway 3 completely out of the requirements. Now let's talk about hours. So there are some changes to the fieldwork experience. So here we go. The number of hours required between supervised hours and concentrated hours is still the same. So if you do supervised hours, you need 2,000 hours, and if you have concentrated hours, you need 1,500 hours. And the supervisor qualifications pretty much look to be the same. Now, where it comes to the difference in the changes is the supervision hours per supervisory period. So, previously for 2025, I told you that you needed 10%. If you are doing it based off the BCBA 2027 requirements, you need 7.5 hours in the supervisory period, which is a change from the 10%. The supervisory hours for the supervised fieldwork is still the same, so keep that in mind. Another difference will be the fieldwork hours allowed for the month. So previously, you could only collect a maximum of 130 hours. Now the maximum is 160, so you can collect more hours a month. Another key difference is the observation per supervisory period. The observation now has a time limit, so you should have 60 minutes of observation with supervised fieldwork and an hour and a half for concentrated fieldwork to be able to count your hours for that month. And the group supervision is still the same. It can't exceed 50% of your total supervision hours for that month, and your unrestricted hours should still be at least 60% of your hours. So that is the same. One key difference is those that are applying January 1st, 2027 will need to complete the 2027 monthly fieldwork verification forms. So if you test before January 1st, 2027, you can use those fieldwork forms from the 2025 requirements. So if you already know that you aren't going to make that deadline, you should be collecting your hours on the 2027 requirements because that's what you're going to test under. Remember, this BACB Handbook is your #1 resource. You should be referring back to it if you have questions. Yes, it's okay to ask your supervisor, ask other people if you need clarification, but ultimately, you need to make sure that you for yourself have read the BACB Handbook. I hear a lot of supervisees who say, well, I didn't know the requirements, or I didn't look at it. I just went by what my supervisor said. And yes, your supervisor should be competent in what they're telling you and guide you the right way, but at the same time, you are gaining the skills to become a BCBA, so you should be proactive in finding out information on your own and researching and staying up to date on the new requirement. Another thing that I want to just express, I know we talked about unrestricted hours. I just want to express that you do not have to be an RBT to collect fieldwork hours. I'm always seeing questions like, well, I'm a teacher, can I still collect my hours? Or I work in a daycare, or I work in forensics. Wherever your location is, if that's somewhere that you want to stay and a discipline you want to stay, find a supervisor in that area who can provide supervision. That way you do not have to change somewhere that you're happy about. I know a lot of people ask, well, don't I have to pay for that? Most of the time, yes, but it can be a rewarding experience when you can get the supervision that you need in the area that you want so that you can do a job that's fulfilling. There's no reason to just try to collect hours just to be a BCBA, and you're still going to be looking, trying to find the perfect placement or the perfect field work when you could have got it initially in the beginning. And I'm saying that from my own experience. If it don't apply, let it fly. But even now, like, yes, I love what I do, but I'm trying to find work that is a little bit more fulfilling, especially in realms that are outside of just a traditional ASD. Yes, I love working in this sector, but at the same time, I do want to reach more people in different areas. So if you're feeling that same way, you do not have to feel like you're in a box and that you only can work in a clinical setting, only can work in, in home or whatever the common settings that we work in. You do not have to do that. I've seen people work in forensics, in health and wellness, in schools, if you want to work on the education side, in day treatment facilities. Like, there is so many areas you can work in, and that isn't even the whole list. Like, the BACB has a list, and I'll put these links somewhere so that you can get to them, of like subspecialties in ABA. So I would recommend looking at those and just kind of seeing which ones apply to you. I also have blogs on different specialties. I'm currently on like part 3 or 4, but I literally break down different subspecialties, tell you like, BCBAs and practitioners who are doing that kind of work, so that you can follow them, reach out, look at their page, get some mentorship, whatever you need to have the life of a BCBA that you want to have. You don't have to just stay in a box that, people have created because this is the main sector that people work in. Create your ideal setting by reaching out, by getting mentorship, and, getting the life that you want to live and the setting that you want to be in. So the requirements was really my first video of this series. So if you like this video, please like the video and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a whole series on frequently asked questions that I usually ask from supervisees, trainees, and I'm going to, just keep adding information based on questions that I see that are often asked, my own experience, and kind of just tying them all in. It's helpful. Also, please share with a friend if they're collecting hours as well. I want to build a community where people feel like they can ask questions and that we can just sit and talk about the questions and just have clarity, because this journey is a journey that can be hard. I'm not going to say that it can't be. However, if you have somebody who you can ask questions to, be a mentor to you, and to provide you what you need, it can make the journey feel so much less stressful. And I'm speaking from experience. So if you, need a BCBA, person to help you and guide you and mentor you, this is what this space is for. So I enjoyed you guys, and I hope to see you on the next video of this series. Okay, bye.